welcome everybody. I'm really excited for today. We're jumping back into the water. I guess pun slightly intended. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're still, as we mentioned in chat, trying to get back to where our characters were and everything, because the finale was 4 months ago. We thought that was going to be the end of it. So it's going to be really interesting. Bear with us a little bit if we are asking ourselves and each other a few questions here and there. But we should get back on track pretty quickly. I've got a lot of really cool and terrifying stuff planned for today. So it's going to be great. Before we jump into all that, though, I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about their character, because it's been a hot second, and then also a little about where their character's at mentally, and what we're looking forward to for that character over the next couple sessions. Starting with top left as usual, Alex, I'm sorry for picking you first, but all of those questions, go for it.
I'm not good at going first, Raven.
I'm sorry.
You know this, Raven.
It's practice.
I forgot you're in the top left. I'm sorry.
I'm Alex. I'm a digital artist, and I play Susie, the 15-year-old with severely untreated anxiety who is turned into a ball of rage and panic. She is the child of... What the fuck was her parent's name?
I could not tell you.
Chuck.
Chuck, who I played initially in this game, was a non-binary North Native American Salish area person, and they had a genetic clone who currently presents as female, made of themselves to be their child, and that is Susie. Susie woke up when their parent died. Susie has a knife, and Susie has 2 modes. Crying or stabbing. Pick one. That is the current mental state that she has been left in, is she's starting to actively just do shit now, because she realizes that pretty much all the adults aren't going to listen to her unless she goes and just does it. That's the only way anything's going to get done. Which means she's getting very edge that she normally wouldn't be pressed to. She looks about like 5'2", really well muscled, like crazy well muscled. Considering she pushed one of the mini subs by herself back into the water. Her base athletic stats is like 26. She's been swimming too much. She's sort of darker tan skin, hair that used to be rainbow colored, but is now like faded and stuff, and like dark roots and such. She's got usually wearing her basically there are swimsuits that we've got, but hers has been specially custom made to resemble the stripes of the juvenile what were they called again?
Macrogars?
Macrogars. I forgot that you
the Macrogars.
Your suit up for that.
Really cool, that's why I drew that picture of her with Sweetie Pie, the Macrogar she's been taming. And also Susie's feeling a little bit of fucking mazed because she just got all the Macrogars she's been like gently playing with and like feeding and teaching them that she's a friend sort of thing, came out and kicked a Kraken's ass for us.
Yeah. That was really epic at the
mind blown. Her
there.
Mind is a bit fucking blown because she did not expect them to have this sort of intent.
Yeah. All right. And what's a couple things that you're looking forward to or expecting to happen with your character over the next couple sessions? Muted.
Me personally, I'm looking forward to seeing whether or not Susie gets pushed to the point where she goes past that moral judgment of whether or not she'd kill somebody. Because
yeah.
right now she's still trying. The reason that they made weapons that weren't going to kill somebody and made stun things was because Susie specifically did not want anybody to get like killed. But we'll see how things go. I mean, where's Boris?
Yeah. Interesting stuff. And thank you again so much for going first. I apologize, I forgot you were in that spot. I should have moved your camera. Going down to Zan. Remind us a little bit about Wilfred and yourself, of course. And then where's Wilfred at mentally? And what kind of things do you expect and or want to see from Wilfred in the next couple sessions?
Well, I guess I'll start with the harder of the questions. Hi, I'm Zan. I'm a professional DM and content creator for 5e, World of Darkness, Powered by the Apocalypse, and a whole bunch of other little fun systems out there. Yeah, I guess Wilfred is a youngish guy starting to slide into middle age, probably in his mid, maybe pushing late 30s. When he awoke, he was pretty clean shaven, but now some stubble has become pretty prominent, and it's not as it's got a little more salt than he's used to seeing when he looked in the mirror a while ago. His hair is black, and he tries to keep it slicked back, but it's you do what you can at the in the elements, and he's wearing a religious uniform of some kind that's pretty well distraught and kind of faded past any visible recognition. Like, you can see it and acknowledge, like, okay, yeah, this guy probably belongs to some kind of order, but any markings or pieces of significance that it would have had are probably long gone by this point. And where he's at mentally is I think that things have, I think very much unlike Susie, he has already made the decision to kill, because it's better to lose one or two than it is for everyone to lose everything. And it's a difficult choice, but it's a choice that someone has to make. And if martyrdom, if martyring your eternal soul with the stain of murder is a necessary thing for the rest of people to be able to thrive, then that's that's a weight that his soul is going to have to bear, and he's prepared to make that decision. Honestly, at this point, it feels like it's his obligation to make that decision, because things are just going to hell, especially in recent minutes. As far as what I look forward to seeing with him, I'm not really sure. To me, it seems like there's two main branches that he can go down, and that is for there to be a little bit more integration with him within the rest of the group, whether that be through a moderation of his own beliefs or through the radicalization of the rest of the cast, or rationalization, of the rest of the cast.
Depends on your point of view.
Yeah, every coin's got two sides, and if that or he's going to keep getting riskier and riskier with what he believes are necessary and difficult decisions, that's ultimately gonna come back and bite him at some point. So I don't know, it's always interesting starting something with the known villain in the party, and so I'm interested to see how, kind of inner conflict wise, we can resolve that.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. Awesome. Next, let's hop over to Leland with Lyle. Remind us a little bit about Lyle, just as a character, where he's at mentally right now in the story, and what you would like to see, or what you expect to see from Lyle in the next couple of sessions, as well as a little bit about yourself, of course.
Okay. All right. I am. Hold on one second. Let me turn Roll20 music down. My Roll20 volume levels. My personal levels were up really high because I was jamming to it earlier, but now I need to hear myself. But yes, I am Leland/Leopold the Just. I am a social media consultant for a number of tabletop RPG and film companies. You can find me all over at Leopold the Just. I am playing the character Lyle Henderson, who is basically just like a fish out of water. I was the ship's hairdresser. My intent was to actually make a character who was like essentially not fit for the situation, and then try and have them survive and become fit for the situation, which has so far worked out. I've put skills in important places for surviving, obviously. But yeah, so really looking forward to that. Let's see, my memory is really bad with the questions. I see them right here. All right. Yeah, where my character is at mentally, again, feels like a fish out of water still, though, like even though he's like gained some skills, but the main thing he's concerned about is becoming useful. He's determined to become like an invaluable member of the group. Right now, he feels like he's just sort of tagging along and keeping track of the duck. So.
I was going to say, the Keeper of Quackers is a very important role.
Yeah, it's important for the viewers, but really, like, in a survival situation, But yeah, so also plan on getting some better weaponry. As far as what I hope for, yeah, better weaponry. So right now, I just have some grooming scissors and a spear that does less damage than my grooming scissors, which tells me it was not very well made.
As I recall, it was roughly just like a piece of pipe that was kind of sharpened.
It was, yes, it was a very bad spear, but I still got it. And I definitely hope to, like, out of character, kind of just hope to see things continue to evolve, like the relationships among all the characters, obviously. Because the situation's crazy, and the fact that, obviously I'm excited to see the situations with the aliens evolve, but really, interpersonal relationships seem to be kind of like one of the highlights of this game. So excited to see where those go.
Yeah.
I'm done.
All right. We'll hop on down to Pat. Tell us a little bit about you, a little bit about Owen as a character, where Owen's at mentally right now in the story, and then a couple things you'd like to see or what you expect from Owen over the next couple sessions.
Sure. Hi, I'm Pat. I'm a Tactric on Twitter and on Twitch, and I'm playing Owen. Owen uses he, him pronouns. He's in his mid-20s, looks like perpetually exhausted and like chronic bedhead, probably from just working in kitchens for so long. He is the chef of the group. And in addition to that, he is one of our two group members who has gotten close and personal with the aliens, who he has not had any negative interactions with so far, and does not have any particular reason to distrust. Although, and immediately told this to the group and did not hide it. The group took that like a mixed bag. So where he's at mentally right now is worrying that two members of the group are going to continue to try and steal from him while he's not looking, and potentially murder him and leave him on this planet to be alone and marooned.
Hey, don't worry, son. You've got at least one steadfast ally on this island. Hell or high tide.
Susie doesn't plan to leave this planet. She's planning on basically just living here forevermore, because we can't let them get off of here and find Earth.
That's also a problem for me. I very much want to leave. That's where I'm at mentally, is trying to find some way to bring this family back together before it's torn apart, and, maybe see that the aliens aren't so bad and we all just want to leave. Let's leave this fucking planet.
That's fair. All right. And last but not least, Jay, tell us a little bit about Tamsin as a character, where she's at mentally, what you'd like to see out of Tamsin, or what you expect from Tamsin over the next couple of sessions, and of course a little about yourself as well.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Jay. I'm playing Tamsin Olentz, or Dr. Olentz to you. She is, I think I put her at like 63, so she's kind of like, she's older. She's been around. I think she might be the oldest or the second oldest in the group, actually. And she is an astrophysicist who is way out of her depth, pun intended, in this planet. In the first season, she was the one that found out that it was going to be at least 8 months before anyone even found out they had crashed. So she was pretty disheartened by most of it. But she's, over the course of last season, she kind of came into her own about just getting shit done. She had a kind of fear of the water and what lay in it because, you know, the people that she'd known died frequently. So now I think she's very much like not only facing this new threat of Wilfred and potentially Owen on his side, but now the new threat of what are the aliens doing? And should we really free alien prisoners? You know, like without knowing what they did. It's like, okay, well, on the one hand, maybe you got busted for speeding. On the other hand, maybe you're a genocidal maniac. It's kind of hard to tell because there's no records. So she's gone from paranoid scientist to like not quite survival badass, but very much like no nonsense. She won't take bullshit. Which is why she hates dealing with Susie most of the time, because Susie is love her to bits as a player, but as a character, Tamsin just is like, why is there someone a quarter of my age ordering me around? You don't even have a doctorate. Get the fuck out of here. So what she's looking
Don't even have a
for,
doctorate.
yeah. So what she's kind of after, like what she's hoping for, I would say, is figure out what the aliens want, figure out what the aliens have done, kind of those two are kind of in tandem, and figure out if Wilfred can be manipulated enough to work towards kind of a group goal without him backstabbing us. Because she was suspicious of Wilfred from the get-go, and then they had a nice little night. They like chatted, they got to know each other, and then he fucked off in the middle of the night without telling anyone. So she was pissed. And now he's a prophet basically for the aliens. So she wants to know what Wilfred's deal is as well, like what his whole scheme is, because it's wigging her out. Other than that, I think she just wants to make sure that no one dies. That's, you know, no one else dies, I suppose, because we've already had people die. But she,
An ambitious goal.
It sure is, and she's an ambitious woman, because she's literally, you know, she's on like death's door compared to the young people in here. So swimming around the oceans at 63 is maybe not the most ideal situation. Yeah. Other than that, I'm Jay. I'm a non-binary creative. I'm a writer and a role player mostly, and that's mostly what's going on. There's not a lot else to add.
All right. That just leaves me. So I am Raven. I'm the creative director for the Raven Evermore, which includes a whole ton of stuff. Generally, if it's anything remotely tabletop related, aside from making dice, I do it. I'm involved with it. So yeah, that's me. I play everything else in the universe. And this game is running on a weird amalgamation of first edition, second edition, and some special rules just for this game of fundamental RPG. Because I started doing this before second edition was even a thought. So it's got a weird compiling of rules. But if you've watched any of the other fundamental RPG campaigns that I run, it should seem very familiar. And hopefully we'll have all of this put into its own separate game system specifically for this setting later this year. As for what's going on in the world right now, a brief recap. When we left off on the finale, we kind of left it open-ended. weren't sure if we were going to do a second season or not, because last season had already been scheduled out, and we kind of discovered towards the end of the season that oh hey, we've got a lot more story to tell. So we tried to cram a lot into the finale, but now that we're coming back to it, we're kind of picking up where we left off. So everybody was in a larger submarine. The plans for how to construct that had been found. It was able to hold one of the mini submarines, the ones that hold 2 people, and that is currently docked in the sub. There was the big thing with the Kraken Vipers, where Susie came in clutch with the Macrogar, and they fought it off, and they were able to get away. And the submarine has moved towards the east, away from the starting point, past this giant underwater mushroom forest. So they basically look like giant mushroom trees, but they're underwater. If you're familiar with the game Subnautica, which this game is obviously heavily influenced by, they look somewhat similar to those. If you're a fan of the game, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. So it looks somewhat similar to that. The submarines moved beyond that area, which was the Kraken Viper breeding ground. There was a nest there. So thankfully past that particular danger, and has moved into much deeper waters. There's a lot more bioluminescent flora at the bottom that everybody was able to see. And everyone's on their way to a giant alien installation where they hope to learn more about what's going to happen as far as what they need to do to get off the planet, maybe find out why these alien entities were imprisoned here. Also, a quick recap on that. The reason the ship crashed, marooning everybody here, is because there's a giant artificial gravity well surrounding the planet that was put here to make sure that the aliens that are present on the planet could not get off. It is a literal prison planet. And so there is, as some mentioned, the dilemma. Do we try to turn that off and escape and let these things off the planet as well? Because we have no idea how good or bad they are. Or do we just stay here? So there's that question as well. But anyways, they were headed towards that alien installation deep down underwater. And when we ended off, they were getting closer to it. I can't remember if you all actually were within sight of it or not.
We had just seen it. Yeah.
Okay. But that wasn't the only thing you saw. There was a dark shadow moving at the bottom of the water. And it's sort of like if you were looking at a star field, just a field of stars, and something the size of the moon that was just completely black just passed over it. Not able to really see any details or anything like that, but the size of it, just the sheer scale of what you were looking at was undeniable. So much so that I believe some of you had that sort of like pit in your stomach dropping feel, like when you're in a free fall, kind of like that. And right around that moment was when the submarine started to have some major issues. There was fire and smoke, power was cut, and it was losing altitude, if you will, descending into the depths. And that's kind of where we ended off. So the narrative recap out of the way, what's about to happen. I will be also playing Boris for the next little bit. Unfortunately, Econorlax wasn't able to join us this season, but I'm going to be taking over that character for a little bit. And he is sort of an engineer character, very, what's the word? Not quite gruff, but just like...
Russian.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So he's trying to figure out what on earth is going on with the submarine. And he calls out over the intercom on the submarine, which is still working. Everything else is basically on the fritz or powering down or shut off completely. But you still have the intercom over the ship working. He calls out that he's trying to fix your maneuvering propeller, your rudder, and things like that, so that even though your engines aren't working, you can try to not crash too terribly. So you hear that call out of, find the fires, put them out, trying to get navigation back on. And that's kind of where you're left. Is anybody next to a porthole, or in
pretty sure
the cockpit
that
of the submarine?
Wilfred had shoved Susie into a room somewhere, if I remember correctly.
It does sound kind of familiar, yeah.
Like either a locker or a room, but I
Wasn't-
can't remember.
Wasn't somebody in one of the tiny subs that had
I
gotten...
thought Susie was in the tiny sub. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
that was
she got
malfunctioning.
she got back with Tamsin
Okay.
because we had to go and rescue the tiny sub from those little stingy fish.
Okay.
Yeah, and the little sub is back on the submarine. That does sound vaguely familiar. I don't remember exactly what happened. I imagine it was probably the lights went out and Susie got shoved into a room. Because Wilfred so far has been very
No.
confrontational.
I think Susie went to go and look at something, and I closed the door behind her.
You
Yeah.
lock- yeah,
Yeah.
That's
right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it
it,
was.
okay.
It was nothing that my fingerprints were on.
Yeah.
You know.
Sorry, I was just trying to remember. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure my character can't do anything right now because she's stuck in a room.
Which of these issues are
Can you
could
make
be
worse?
traced back to someone? Which of these are organic ship problems, and which of these are manufactured problems? Say.
I guess that's up to you, because as I recall, it was plot points used that caused this to happen.
Yeah.
But I believe the intent was that Wilfred did it. So meta, out of character. What do you want Wilfred to be responsible for?
I think Wilfred was responsible. I think Wilfred was responsible for the fire. I don't.
Okay.
I think he overheated something. I don't.
Maybe like
Really
a crossed wire or something that caused a feedback loop.
I think there was a fire, and they put it out, and then. Oh yeah, no. I was trying to get people. I was trying to get theoretically people in the engine room so I could just close the door to the engine room. But yeah, that wasn't the situation that turned out to be. So I think that was
Okay.
me, and definitely the wherever Susie is locked in was me too.
Okay. Probably one of the small crew quarters on the ship is where Susie's locked in, which would have a window.
What wasn't I? Didn't I turn on all of our lights?
Or you turned off
Yeah.
all the lights.
The
I
lights
thought you
did come
turned
back
off all the
on.
lights.
Oh,
The lights
okay.
are back on.
Yeah.
Okay. That's totally fine too. So yeah, we'll
based
say
on
the
your
interior
question-
lights are on.
Based on your question earlier, I will say that Lyle is holding quackers, and they're both nervously looking out the porthole, like basically not really helping much with the situation, just sort of like freaking
Okay.
out and staring out the window.
All right. So it sounds like Wilfred, you might not necessarily be next to a window.
I don't think I was.
Okay. Susie and Lyle are. What about Tamsin?
I think Tamsin's probably going up to confront Wilfred, because that was like what was going on before the sub stuff happened.
Okay.
Was what happened? What's going on? What the fuck is happening? So she's probably like angrily stomping up towards wherever. Are you in the bridge, Wilfred? Or are you in like?
Yeah, I think I was in the bridge. I think
Okay.
I was helping Boris keep an eye on certain problems, and
sounds
also
right,
so I
yeah.
could see what was going wrong and stuff.
Just keep an eye on things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then in that case, you are both by a window, because the bridge has a big viewport. And the reasoning for this question will be apparent shortly, but it's very important to know if you can see out a window or not. What about Owen?
forget what I was doing exactly, but I'd be looking out and trying to see shit, and then just holding on very tightly to my gun so that no errant teens try and steal it again.
I thought you were making some. Baked macrogar sandwiches.
I don't think I cooked shit while we were in the giant sub.
Alright, whatever.
And you certainly
I'm
wouldn't
just
be
hungry.
cooking macro guards.
I just
This
ate
is-
dinner.
This is not an
and my
ideal time
character's
for
hungry also.
aperitif.
You telling me we don't have a mess on this Cyclops? I mean,
Just
this
ma-
sub. Sorry.
I mean, maybe I should. Maybe
It's similar
every
to,
maybe
but legally
every.
distinct from Cyclops.
The
Maybe
monocular sub.
So, I'm sorry, Pat. Go ahead.
No, I don't know. Maybe I need to cook. Maybe everybody just needs some food to chill out and get off of each other's throats. We'll just reenact some Snickers
Yeah,
commercials.
bring us all
and then
some
we'll
like
be good.
martinis.
Just yeah.
Just straight
All right,
salt
so-
water.
So everyone can see out the windows then. And what you see is that shadow shape that you saw on the bottom of the ocean seems to be getting bigger. It's just almost like you would swear that it's just growing. And after a few seconds, it suddenly dawns on all of you that it's not growing, it's getting closer. There is a certain amount of, not exactly smoke, because you're underwater, but some of the gaseous form of the smoke and oil and things like that are starting to leak out of the side of the sub, where things have short-circuited and exploded in certain areas, and it's making a lot of noise as well. So it's attracted whatever this thing is. It's attracted its attention. And as it comes up, those who are on the bridge probably notice what looks like a row of coral reef, very jagged coral reef, just seeming to float up in the water coming towards you. And about that time, Boris is able to get the rudder working well enough to hard turn, which unfortunately sort of rolls the sub just a little bit on its side. There's a loud creaking sound and pop.
I know some other streamers have been having issues, but I don't know that it's Twitch.
Lick my nose.
I think we might be back.
Oh?
I've got connection. It's showing bandwidth.
Yep, I see us.
All right,
All right.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sorry,
Sorry about that, folks.
Been trying to keep an eye on it since it's been happening lately. I just wanted to.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm having internet issues since the first of the year, and Twitch is also having issues. So it's a coin toss on whose end it's on. But hopefully, either my ISP or Twitch will get their crap together, and we'll be fine. But anyways, welcome back. Sorry about the interruption. So everybody was.
Sorry, I just saw the cute lizard.
Oh, sorry. So where we were before it went down, Boris had managed to get the rudder working, and the submarine is descending. Sharp turn to get away from this seemingly coral reef line that's just floating up to meet the sub. That's all jagged, and as a result, the sub starts to roll a little bit. At the hard turn, there's creaking sounds and popping noises as it's going down, and everybody had to roll nimbleness to stay on their feet. So Tamsin and Wilfred, you are both sort of in a pile, a little huddle on one side of the bridge as it's tilted over, and you've both fallen down. Susie, you do stumble a little bit, but fortunately you're in a crew quarters, so you stumble onto the bed and you're able to right yourself without any harm.
Am I still trapped in the room?
I think so. We haven't tried the door yet. Owen and Lyle, you're both fine. You're able to keep your footing. And Quackers is also fine. And it's at that moment that anybody that's not on the ground is able to look over and realize that that jagged coral reef floating up is actually part of a mouth. And that's just a bunch of really ancient looking teeth, especially since it seems to be giving a living space for coral and plant life and things like that. Definitely hasn't seen a dentist in centuries. But this thing's coming right towards the sub. Boris's maneuver manages to get you just out of chomping range for a second. But he looks to Tamsin and Wilfred specifically because you're on the bridge. And says to try and get everybody into the little mini sub and take it to the surface. Just sort of gives you an order with some sense of finality in the tone. Just saying, get everybody into the mini sub, get it up to the surface. I'm going to buy us some time. And Tamsin and Wilfred probably can tell that buy us some time is probably a one-way trip, just in the tone that's in Boris's voice. What do you do?
Tamsin's gonna look at Wilfred because like they're kind of tangled together. So as Tamsin's starting to get herself upright, she'll look at Wilfred and just give him this kind of like, we're not through, you and I kind of look, like I know something's up and I want you to know that you did this. Like it's kind of that like, oh, you know, the 5-year-old came up and is like, oh, the pot broke, I don't know who did it. And the grandma's like, you little shit. So that's kind of the look she's giving him, but she nods to Boris and gives him just like the quickest of hugs, just a little like, and then looks to Wilfred and is like, we should get going. Where's Susie?
Yeah, Wilfred will kind of just like make a pained face and take a deep breath and walk over to Wilfred, not to Wilfred, to Boris, and put a hand on his shoulder and lean down into his ear for just a second and stop and like just like softly kiss the top of his head and just kind of go, I think it's time for us to make a rendezvous. We'll don't worry, Boris, we'll make sure to have your plate ready for dinner.
I think Boris probably just sort of cringe a little bit at the kiss on the head and just sort of like wave you off, going like, why are you talking? You're wasting time. Get on the sub.
Yeah, and I'll go. If Tamsin won't go out the door first, then I will.
Before you leave, Wilfred, Tamsin's going to ask you again, have you seen Susie? I haven't seen her since we got the sub back in.
You saw her the last time I saw her.
She'll turn to Boris and ask him if he's seen her.
He pauses for a second to address that, and just says, I saw her by the crew quarters somewhere. But it's very much I'm giving you the minimal amount of information.
Totally.
The quickest I possibly can and shoving you out the door.
Easy. Yeah. Mom, she's like dealing with like knives and hot stuff. Like, yeah, what is it?
Yeah.
Have you seen my toy?
A little busy.
Yeah. Okay, so she'll nod and just give like a soft pat on the back, and then follow Wilfred out, and she'll head to the crew quarters to look for Susie.
Okay.
I think just as a little flavor thing. So the lights inside the ship weren't on.
They are now.
Okay.
The internal ones working. The external ones are not.
I think as Tamsin and I are moving down the hallway, I think the exact patch that we are in is much brighter than the rest. And as we clear an area, the lights flip off as we go forward.
Yeah. I'll go with that. Fuse is blowing it, as sort of like a cascade overload happens. Sure.
Okay, Thames is going to reach out to try and grab Wilfred in the dark, just to make sure she knows where she is.
Oh, we're still under the light.
Oh, we are. Okay.
Yeah. It's after we walk past that
Okay.
I'm turning the lights off behind us. there is no other path. We can only keep going forward.
I see.
Yeah.
Rat in a maze.
But with that though, let's hop over to Susie. So Susie, you've seen this thing through the window. The lights are on. Have you tried opening the door?
Yeah, because maybe the crash knocked something. Maybe the jostle knocked something loose or whatnot. She's hoping because it was locked a minute ago.
And I'm gonna say yeah. The quick turn and tumbling around and everything, and the system's short-circuiting to begin with. The door does open, and you basically are able to step right out in front of Tamsin and Wilfred.
Well,
Oh, good, you're safe.
she just like stares at him. It's like, "You're the one who locked me in there, you fucker."
Honor Boris's last wish and come with us. Now's not the time to argue. And I'm gonna keep going.
She looks at Tamsin. "Where's Boris?"
Long fucking story. We need to get out of here now.
Okay, so she's gonna go with Tamsin because she does trust Tamsin.
Yeah, Tamsin's got that look on her face.
But the longer they go and it's becoming obvious that they're not grabbing Boris, the more it's like, what about Owen and Lyle? Is Boris gonna meet us there?
Tamsin's got that look on her face. You know when your parent knows that your animal has died, but you don't yet? Like, that's kind of the look she has on her face. She's got this very
Susie doesn't
kind of
notice it yet.
blank look on her face, almost like forced blank. And she just says, "We should look for Lyle and Owen before we go." Have you seen them, Wilfred? I didn't see them when we came back in.
No.
Is there a way to like key the intercom on this ship, Raven? I forget how the intercom works. But...
Yeah, there's probably like a panel on the wall by every room.
Okay,
so there would be one right here.
Yeah, she would find that and then just kind of shout over the intercom like, "Lyle, Owen, meet us in the sub bay. We need to go ASAP right now. No questions." Like very much channeling her grandma voice, even though she doesn't have kids.
Yeah. So that does get conveyed. It's a bit robotic and tinny sounding, and some of the parts of words are replaced with static. But Lyle and Owen, you are both able to understand the message clearly.
We need to get the hell out of here then, obviously. Are you coming?
Hey, I'm out the door too. Why would I stay?
All right, yeah. All right, let's go. Why are we standing here?
Is Quackers here? Do you have Quackers?
I have quackers in my arms. Don't you worry.
Crackers gives you a little quiet quack.
Why did we bring
Of
quackers?
Because we needed an emotional support animal.
Also,
And
wasn't Quackers like
Quackers is able to detect who's infected
they
by
were
the alien nanobots.
they were a Wilfred crucifix, I thought,
Yeah.
last season.
Yeah, that's why we're keeping quackers around. The bane of you.
Oh goodness. All right. So you're all able to meet up in the mini sub room.
Where the hell's Boris?
As soon as they're
Gloria.
in there and Susie doesn't see Boris, Susie's kind of slowing down at the door and just like, "Where's Boris? Isn't he supposed to meet us here?"
Tamsin doesn't make eye contact with anyone but Wilfred. And she just flatly says, "Boris is going to buy us some time."
Susie goes absolutely white. And she's like, you can see it. as she starts to turn to start to bolt for the doors, for the bridge, screaming for Boris.
Susie.
The light goes off.
Oh, you motherfucker.
Yeah, about that. It would be about that time that the lights would go off. But you do hear over the intercom, and it's really garbly and staticky, and you can tell the intercom's really struggling to get this message through. And it's Boris yelling at all of you, saying, "Why haven't you launched the sub yet? What are you doing? Get out of here!" In the Boris voice that I'm not even going to try to imitate. I don't think I can do it justice, but you know the voice.
Pardon me, I'm actually tearing up a little bit right now, so ignore me if I'm looking over emotional. Susie stops, and she's half in the dark, half in what's left of the light. And you can see her, for a sheer second, she doesn't look like this little badass she's been trying to present herself as. She isn't the girl who pushed an entire sub on her own. She isn't the girl who went out and faced down a Kraken Viper with just a stun pistol in hand. No, she is a terrified little girl who already lost one parent and has to make the choice to lose another. And she comes back and she gets him the sub, and she's very quiet. And there are just tears
Stream might be down.
thick
Stream's
down her
down.
face.
It's
Sorry.
it's struggling. It hasn't completely disconnected, but it keeps dropping.
Damn
I
it,
see.
sorry.
No worries. I think we're stable now, and I think most, if not all, of what you were saying got through. But if you want to
Okay.
repeat any of it, feel free.
Yeah, no, so she climbs into the sub and she said nothing, and she just wedged into a back corner. The knife is still open in her hand. Her knuckles are that strained skin across them to the point you can see the tendons in the backs of her fingers. And there's just tears pouring down her face.
I would like for Lyle to walk over and just in his left arm he's got quackers, and he reaches out his right hand and sort of struggles to get the knife out of
Oh
your
no,
hand.
no fucking way. You're not getting that knife. That knife is in a death grip.
All right. Well, I'm gonna once I realize that, I'm gonna hold out quackers with both hands and say, you want to trade?
She just reaches out, grabs quackers, and is holding quackers like this. The knife's still in her hand.
Be careful. And I'm just gonna
She's just staring dead ahead. There's no emotions. There's nothing except for somebody who's just put into instant grieving mode.
I'm just gonna rub her shoulder a bit and then walk off, sort of pat it, I guess, and then walk off and leave her with quackers. And I'm gonna go back up to the cockpit and kind of
They're just being used
Hover
as
over
something to
whoever's
cry
driving.
on right now. Quackers is being used as a tear mop.
Tamsin's gonna,
quackers nuzzles your chin with his beak.
Tamsin will kneel
So
down in
sad.
front of Susie, and she's her face is still very placid. She doesn't seem like she seems like she's trying to hide something. But she just kind of quietly says to Susie, "We need to go. We can deal with this after, but we can't stay here right now."
Susie is in the mini sub.
Oh, she is. Sorry, I
Yeah,
missed.
she climbed inside the mini sub and wedged herself into a
Oh,
corner.
okay. I missed that bit then.
Oh, as soon as
Sorry.
Susie went in, I'm hitting that button. And closing.
Yeah, she'll still kind of say the same thing, just trying to comfort, but not doing a fantastic job of it.
Okay.
Susie looks up to Tamsin, and there's a hardness in there that you hadn't seen before. That it's like a little bit of that innocence that she was trying to hold on to, that being a kid thing. For right now, it's gone. Right now, you're looking to the eyes of somebody who knows who is responsible for somebody they love's death. and they can't do anything about it right now.
And Tamsin's gonna see that, and she's kind of mirroring that. Like you can tell that something's going on behind her eyes and that she's trying not to show it, but it's very much, it's one of those things like she's queuing up what she wants to do for later. And right now she's just in survival mode, but there's definitely something really, not even hard, but there's something very brutal in her eyes right now. Something that I don't think anyone's seen from Tamsin yet. It's a very rough and raw kind of emotion.
It's almost like there's like that moment of spark of connection and understanding between the two of them, of they know exactly where the other person is and who needs to die.
So she'll pet Quackers briefly and then go to help move the sub.
All right. So this is a 2-person sub. So you're all going to be really, really cramped. But there's just enough space for the 5 of you and Quackers to fit and have the canopy close. I mean, like, your cheeks are probably going to be like smushed up against the glass, but you can make it work. Obviously, that means you're not going to have a whole lot of oxygen, probably just enough to get up to the surface and get to wherever you need to go. Is everybody getting in the sub now, the mini sub? Just make sure. Okay.
Owen has been just quiet, like respectfully silent, but also as scooched against however many people between him and Susie as possible, because he's suspicious of that knife. But it's just quiet.
Okay.
I somehow trust Susie with the knife because she also has Quackers, and I believe she won't do anything to accidentally harm Quackers. So.
Yeah. All right. So, just as you're getting in and getting ready to close the canopy and everything, there is a sound that comes from whatever this creature is, and it's a bit like if you've ever been to the movie theater and they do the THX, intro sound where it's like really, really deep and then goes high pitch. It's kind of like that, except it doesn't quite get all the way up to the high pitch part. It's just this deep sort of sound that reverberates through the water, and of course hitting the hull of the sub. The sound does get distorted a bit, and it's a bit higher pitched, but it sounds like somebody has just smacked the side of the submarine with a bunch of sledgehammers. It's very loud, and the sub rocks a little bit as a result. So as that happens, you close the canopy. You hear Boris on the intercom on the mini sub, the radio, and he hits the button that basically just ejects the mini sub, and there's a sudden sort of lurching feeling as the mini sub just shoots downwards. And you have that sort of rush of water coming up to meet the sub and sinking and everything. And you're all able to see the larger submarine continue down towards this creature. And once you're a decent ways away from the submarine, it's gone down further away from you. One of the engines does seem to kick on. Looks like whatever Boris was doing, he managed to get one of the engines working, and the sub starts to pick up speed. This creature is still coming towards the big submarine and towards all of you. And I imagine you're probably getting ready to turn the mini sub and get out of there at this point. But before you do get away, you are able to hear over the radio Boris in the very Boris voice say what he probably doesn't know is a very iconic line, but nevertheless it's still said. He just is at the helm, staring this giant creature down. And he just says, "Smile, you son of a bitch." And the submarine just goes right into the mouth, and there's this giant underwater explosion. You hear the creature roaring out in pain. Some of those coral-looking teeth seem to have broken off, and it goes back down into the depths from where it came.
Pardon my French, but not really. That was awesome.
Awesome. And yeah, so that is unfortunately the end of Boris, but it bought you enough time. This creature seems no longer interested in you for the moment, and you are able to get away. And as the mini sub surfaces, you notice another landmass off on the horizon that you're able to start heading towards. And I think right there is a great time to take a 10-minute break. So we're going to take 10 minutes, stretch our legs, get some tissues,
Hold on.
grab a drink and all that. What's up?
Hold on. I think I bought someone a sub. I don't know who it went to. Let's see.
Thank you!
Who did
Oh,
it go
nice. Quiet
Hey,
Deviant.
Quiet Deviant. Love
Ivy or
LV?
LV, I'm not sure. Yeah. If you would like to see Boris actually played, you can see the entire first season of this show on our YouTube channel, which is just Black Feather Guild on YouTube. You can look it up. I need to set up a shortcut for that in chat, but
Which will
yeah,
make
Boris
you sad
is
right along
amazing.
the rest of us, right?
Oh yeah.
Because of the father-daughter relationship. I believe I pointed out multiple times between Susie and Boris, but
God, they
here
have
we
the
are.
best father-daughter relationship, though. Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's a shame when one of the fold has to be cold for the survival of the rest. It really is heartbreaking.
Oof.
I mean,
Really
somebody's
no
want
heart.
idea
for
what
the
you're
die.
saying ever, guy.
Certainly not Wilfred's, but somebody's heart. Yeah.
Hey, Wilfred, you're in a small confined space with me, and I have a knife.
Please don't kill someone while we're trying to escape.
So
All I ask.
So yeah, you do surface, you do see a landmass, but that's where we're gonna actually take a break. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes. Go stretch your legs, grab a drink, snacks, whatever you would like. But don't change the channel because we'll be right back in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think Quiet Deviant.
Hello, and we're back. Sorry about the issues there. I am still having some internet provider issues that are super frustrating. Hopefully, it will stay stable for the rest of the stream. So, quick thank you again to Quiet Deviant for the Patreon subscription. That does give you either, you can do 3 crits, which you can divide among either the cast or GM as much as you would like, or you could do a disadvantage in a couple of d6s, an advantage in a number of d6s, however you want to split that up. Just let me know in the chat and I will get those added in. Also, quick reminder that because of Pat's sub at the very beginning of the stream, that Tamsin has advantage on her next roll. And you all do have a d6 from the game tweet because it has been retweeted more than 5 times. So yeah, with all of that, let's jump into the story before my internet decides to be silly again. So you see an island off in the distance. You're able to get to the surface, open the canopy, so you're not all smushed quite so much together. And you're able to start driving towards it, assuming that is where you want to go.
I mean, who's the one driving?
Yeah, I guess that is a good question too.
I figured that my character could do it, but hold on, what skill is that?
Mechanical engineering is typically used to drive.
Okay, yeah, I figured that because my character has been putting points into engineering stuff to try and be like Boris's apprentice. So, yeah, I figured
The apprentice has become the master now.
Oh, I know. I'm kind of glad I did put this one down again. Anyway, I'm gonna roll it.
Okay.
I got an 8, so we have crashed into a giant rock.
What is, just out of curiosity, what is everyone's mechanical engineering? Because mine is higher than I feel like it should be, and I'm like, wait,
5.
am I good at this? Okay, mine is 10.
Oh, well,
Mine's
then why are you
12.
fucking driving, asshole?
Why
You
are we good at this, man?
Because we got.
What have we
Well, I've been
done?
spending points to the robots making me better with that.
Well,
Like at the beginning of the game, I had jack shit.
We're not letting that asshole drive.
I was
My-
We can let Pat
Sorry, were you
Charles
saying
drive.
mechanical engineering or tech
Yeah.
engineering?
Mechanical.
Mechanical.
I have 5.
I have 5 also in mechanical.
Boris had 11, if that gives you a benchmark.
That's where I was too, actually. Yeah.
Lord, Owen, you're like a prodigy. You used to work on the old truck with my grandpa out on the farm.
Had to jury rig your
Moisture
own,
farm.
your own ovens.
Yeah, I guess.
Thanks so much for that tier 1 sub. Alex, if you would like, you can do a couple of d6, or you can